You are now recording. If you can hear me and see me and hear me, today is the day. I'm B minor.
I'm the X Factor.
And we are here. I am really excited about this episode tonight. A Southern Oregon guy. You guys know me, a little bit. I'm from Southern Oregon, proud Oregonian, and really, really excited to have EJ Singler with us. I got to show my shirt here as a big Ducks fan.
That's right, baby.
Right? Sometimes you, EJ. Sometimes me.
Always us.
Always us.
Before we go any further, I have to ask, did you make up Oregonian, or is that actually something that people say in Oregon?
That's the name of our newspaper, X Factor.
The Oregonian?
That's our newspaper.
Oregon. Try to say that 5-5. Oregonian. Wow, that's a good name. I like that.
The Oregonian. So I'm a proud Oregonian. So EJ played for the Ducks, played at South Medford, which is kind of our rival in high school. But he's a little bit younger than I am. So he is, let's see, we're going to mute you here, Nate. There we go. And then went to the University of Oregon from South Medford, first team, all Pac-12. I almost said Pac-10. That shows how old I am. It was the Pac-12, right, EJ?
My freshman year was the Pac-10. My freshman year was Pac-10, and then from sophomore on was Pac-12.
Okay, that gives us a good idea of the age. But first team all Pac-12, played in the development. Was it the D League or the G League?
It was the D League when I played.
The D League, which is now the NBA G League. Played for the Idaho Stampede, and most recently was playing professionally in New Zealand. And so I'm excited to hear a little bit about what it was like being Kyle Singler's little brother, a little bit about what it was like playing at the University of Oregon, hear about this professional career, and kind of talk about what you're doing now. So EJ, thanks for being here, man.
That's right, man. When a Southern Oregonian hits you up, you always respond.
Always respond.
Southern Oregonian, they stick together, man. So happy to be on this podcast.
We're excited, man. We're really excited to hear just from a professional athlete and hear a little bit of some stories about what's motivated you and how you've been able to be so successful. So maybe just tell us a little bit about what it was like, South Medford, what it was like growing up in Southern Oregon, and how you chose University of Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Southern Oregon, specifically like the South Medford kind of area, just heavily influenced by sports. I mean, Medford is, it's a small city, but I mean, they kind of rally behind high school sports because there's a college in Ashland, which is pretty close, but basically it's just high school sports. And I remember going to South Medford games and, there'd be, a couple thousand people there, and going to football games, same thing. And it's kind of one of those towns where, they shut down businesses and stuff, and, they go to the games and stuff. So, and like growing up, in a family that's very sports oriented, both on my dad's side and my mother's side. I mean, there's a lot of families that, were doctor, like that's a doctor's family, or, that's a lawyer's family. Like I grew up in a sports family, like that's all we knew. And that was kind of drilled into us at an early age. So sports was basically everything in computing.
I'm going to interrupt you. Tell us, your dad was a football player, your mom, volleyball?
Yeah, no. So my dad played at Oregon State. He was a quarterback at Oregon State. And my mom actually played basketball at Oregon State as well. So
that is a family of athletes. A little
bit of controversy, going to Oregon.
Right. Yeah. And was your mom a Broster House?
So she was a Broster House, and she had 4 brothers, and they all played Division I sports. So 2 played football at Oregon. Another one played baseball at Oregon. And then another one played basketball at Texas. And then on my dad's side, his brother played football at Stanford. So, I mean, a long lineage of, athletes and, competing at a very high level. So, I was always like going over to family, dinners and stuff like that. It was, I mean, we were talking sports. We were talking, sports were on the TV. We were competing, out on the basketball court or, doing competitive stuff at all times. So that was kind of the household I grew up in. And then, I was lucky enough to have really, really good coaches growing up, all the way, starting from grade school to middle school. And then obviously in high school, I played football and basketball, and the basketball coach at that time was Dennis Murphy, and he's legendary in his own right. And my football coach was my uncle, and he's kind of legendary in the football world for high school. So it started at a very, very early age of getting taught the right way, and how to handle yourself and how to compete, and just being taught the fundamentals, at an early age. And I was lucky that I was blessed with, those teachers very, very early in my life.
We got to give Dennis Murphy a shout out. Dennis Murphy, not the biggest guy in the gym, but he was the coach when I was playing at Grants Pass, and that was 20 years ago now. And so he's just retired a couple years ago, but was a state champion in Oregon. I think you know a little bit about that one, right? You were probably at that game, EJ.
Oh yeah, I was playing.
You were a sophomore that year or a freshman?
I was a sophomore. Yeah.
And the year before, your freshman year, Lake Oswego beat you guys in the state title game.
Exactly. So it was kind of, it was getting back from a time where, we thought actually that team that we played, my freshman year. So that team I think we had one of the biggest teams in the nation at that time. And I think that was the best South Medford team of all time, in my opinion. So it was kind of bittersweet that we lost that year, but we came back and redeemed ourselves the next year. Yeah, those were some crazy times in Oregon for basketball. Just I think it was just a real treat to have, a player like Kevin Love up in Portland, and then a player like Kyle in Southern Oregon. It just it wrote this perfect story kind of on its own. And playing in MAC, I mean, I don't think I played in a more packed environment than what that high school game that we played. That atmosphere was incredible. I mean, anyone that went to that game, they still get chills, and it's kind of like this kind of weird wizardry game that happened. But it was fun, man. That time was something special, and getting to experience it with my brother was an amazing time. So
that's incredible. If you don't know, Matt Court, where EJ was just talking about winning that state championship game, it was literally a pit. I mean, it was called the pit, but it was like this. It was like it went straight up, Pont. So it was like, and it was built in the 20s or 30s. And when it would start rocking.
Like literally rocking?
Literally the hoops. Ernie Kent, the coach, would have to stop the game and be like, okay, you guys got to settle down a little bit because the hoops. EJ, can you verify that?
Well, it's verified by Bill Walton. I don't know how trustworthy.
I don't know if that's the credible source we want to credit that to, but I remember games when they were playing Arizona and it was rocking and the backboards were moving and it was a 9,000 seat arena.
I mean, that was basically the reason why they had to build the new arena, because it wasn't passing fire codes. Just because, I mean, it was just built, like you said, in the 1920s, and yeah, it was a special place though. It had kind of that history, and it just, I don't know, it just had that spirit in it that, just a lot of basketball was played in that gym, and you could feel it for sure.
If Bill Walton said it, it has to be true. I just want to throw it out there. It has to be. Why would he lie? He's an icon.
Why would he lie? He might forget. I don't know why he might forget, but
I could think of a couple reasons he might forget. But I'll tell you what, everything else aside, if there's one guy that I would want to commentate a game, it would be him.
you haven't had him commentate one yet, have you?
Unfortunately, no. That was like my dream. I don't think I'm gonna get it, but that was my dream. I always wanted that.
He's a character. He gets on some tangents, man.
I work in tangents sometimes, but some of the things that Bill Walton says, it's like, where did that come from, or how did we get to that? Crazy. But that gym, Pont, I've told you guys about my grandmother. If you were watching, you know about my grandmother. She was honored, EJ, as Douglas or Lane County's woman athlete of the first half century. So from 1900 to 1950, that 50-year period, she was the woman athlete. And at halftime of a Ducks game, my dad was 5 years old, and he still remembers, or says he remembers, being there at halftime and having his mom honored as the woman athlete of the first half century at Mac Court.
That's big time.
That's pretty big time for my family. And then I got to play there my freshman year. I played 13 minutes, and that was Luke Ridenour, Luke Jackson, and B Minor were all in that game.
I love that.
That's a good squad right there.
Those guys were on the other team. They were loaded. Our team was decent. They beat the Ducks the year before when it was Freddie and Luke, and they went to the Elite Eight. Yeah. Portland beat them, and some of the guys on our team kind of ran their mouth a little bit. And Luke made sure that we were not even in the game when we played them. They came out and put it to us. But I got to play 13 minutes, which was the most minutes I ever logged as a D1 basketball player, was at Mac Court, which they built, like EJ said, they built that new fancy state-of-the-art. I'm thinking of all these ads. Well, how would you describe it, EJ? What was it like, Matthew Knight Arena?
Matthew, I mean, they did their best to try to replicate. They wanted to replicate like a Mac feel, which I think they did a good job. I mean, they try to make it as steep as possible, but it still doesn't have that Mac feel, like that closeness that Mac had. But it's a pretty special arena. I mean, you got all the bells and whistles in it. You got a nice practice facility connected. You got all the new treatment stuff, all the hydrotherapy pools. Got a great state-of-the-art weight room. So, I mean, all the tech is amazing and stuff like that. But there's something about an old school gym, kind of that squeaks. It has that spirit in it that, you know, kind of like a Cameron indoor stadium. Like, it just, you can't replicate, like if they built a new arena at Duke, it just wouldn't have that same feel like it had. So I don't know, maybe it will get to that point in a couple more years at Matt, but it's a pretty cool arena though. I mean, they did a really good job. So
it is cool, but I feel what you're saying. It doesn't have that same just that historic, like you said. I think Cameron Indoor is I mean, obviously you spent with your brother going there, you know it well, yeah. But it's that history and just the awe that you get when you walk in. So tell us a little bit about that. How was it when your older brother's getting recruited by Coach K?
Yeah, I mean, at that time, it just was, everything was happening so fast. You know, growing up in Medford, there just wasn't a time where you could look to someone else and, you know, oh, you saw someone doing the same thing that happened before you. So everything was so new to us that it wasn't really even like awing almost, because we didn't really even know any better. Like I was talking to someone the other day about just like being in our own bubble, kind of growing up in Medford. You know, we thought we were so good, kind of in the grade school area, only competing against, you know, people in Medford. And we thought, oh, we're the best people in Medford. Like, we thought we were like really, really good at basketball, whatever, football, whatever sports we were playing. And it wasn't until I think my brother was in middle school was the first time we kind of traveled up to Portland, because in Medford there was no tournaments, there was no kind of exposure to outside basketball. It was, it was only you were playing against, people from the cities around Medford, really. So once we made it to Portland, it was kind of like a eye-opening experience of, oh wow, there's like, more people than just playing basketball other than just in Medford. And then from there we got on travel teams, and we got to experience, traveling the nation at that time. And I think that just kind of opened our eyes to just a bigger pool of people, and what that kind of experience gave to us. So but going back to your question about, having, recruiters coming in and stuff like that, it was just an amazing experience. It kind of, for me, just seeing that, it gave me a ton of motivation to, work my tail off. And obviously Kyle was someone I looked up to, growing up. So at that time I was like, well, I want that same thing to happen to me. So looking at Kyle, I was like, well, I got to do the same stuff. I got to go to every workout that he goes to. I mean, there's a reason why these people are coming to recruit him. So I was basically that little brother that, was following Kyle everywhere he went to work out with him and train and stuff like that. So that really just inspired me to, be the best that I could be, and motivated me to, follow my dreams, because growing up, I didn't really have aspirations of making it to the next level or anything like that. I mean, I had dreams of, being as good as I could in sports, but, I never thought I could make it to college or anything like that, because I didn't know anyone that, had made it to college and played. It just was an inspiring kind of episode of, people coming in and stuff like that.
We'd be remiss if we didn't drop BG Gould's name. BG, watch out, shout out, EJ, the director of basketball operations, our guy, BG Gould. He's got pictures of him and Coach K and Bill Self and Roy Williams, probably. I mean, just give us 10 seconds on BG Gould.
BG Gould is a character. He's a one of a kind, has the best penmanship ever. So he was our statistician. And after every season, he would hand us like a handwritten, like he would like do the boxes and everything handwritten. And so he would give us kind of our score sheet after every year, and it was like this big kind of binder full, and it was him taking notes of rebounds, points, steals, everything. So he was BG Gould is just a one of a kind guy, and if you ever go to Medford, you ever go to a sporting event, you'll probably see him there.
You will or Red Robin.
Or Red Robin.
Big burger guy, huh?
Oh, he's a big burger guy. BG Gould is a legend down in Southern Oregon, but he hand writes the stats after every game. So he emails me the Southern Oregon Conference stat leaders, and he hands write. And I'm like, BG, like, don't you know about like Excel but he hand writes and he calculates and tabulates. He's got a memory. He'll be like, hey, Brant, remember that time back when you were in high school and you were a freshman pitching JV and he's got a memory like nobody I've ever met.
That's true.
Character.
His sports memory is incredible. They can go back 20 years.
Uh-oh. Everybody froze. Can you guys see me?
I was going to say, I think we almost lost you for a second, but you came back.
So if you can see me and hear me and hear me and see me, I'm back. Thank you.
Boom.
Thank goodness. Technology. So outstanding player of the 2000. Am I frozen?
B minor, we're losing you a little bit. But I heard outstanding player, and I heard am I frozen? So we're piecing together with context clues what's going on.
You gotta fix that Wi-Fi, Brant.
We did fix it. We spent another $150 on these iPods, AirPods, something.
Oh, those Google Pods?
Google Pod, trying to enhance the Wi-Fi, and it's still technology. But I'm back.
And better than ever.
We were talking about BG Gould. We'll move on from BG Gould. We started talking a little bit. How was it with your parents, both parents being Beavers, both your parents, mom and dad, athletes at OSU? How did that go down when you said you wanted to be a Duck?
They were actually for it. Obviously, you know, they love their alma mater and stuff like that, but they understood that, you know, at that time, Oregon was the better basketball school. So they weren't offended by me, you know, saying that I wanted to go to Oregon. So they were great parents and very supportive of my decision. And you know, they wore the green and yellow for 4 years, but I think they've thrown those in the trash, and now the orange and black are all they wear.
Did they make a split jersey? Because Duke played the Ducks in a game. Didn't you guys have a billboard, singler versus singler, like a huge matchup? Talk about that.
Yeah, so that would have been my sophomore year in college, and we got to play Duke in the Rose Garden. So I think that was kind of one of my brother's things that he wanted when he went to Duke, was at least one game on the West Coast. So he kind of made the deal with Coach K that, you know, if I sign, then, you know, I want to play at least one game on the West Coast. So this was a game, and yeah, it was amazing. We got our butts kicked though, but just being able to play against my brother and just Duke in general, just being able to play against a Coach K and at the Rose Garden was a pretty surreal experience. And yeah, like you said, my parents, I think they had the split half Oregon, half Duke jackets on. I think that was probably my sister's idea. She gets creative with costumes and stuff like that. So it was just I think in general, just a lot of Oregon people had never seen like Duke come out to the West Coast. So it was a big experience for a lot of people. And it was just, yeah, it was awesome. I don't even remember the game, to be honest. It was just such a surreal experience. And so many people that I knew were at the game. And it was definitely something I'll never forget.
I'll tell you what, there is no shame. You said you got your butt kicked by Duke. There is no shame in getting your butt kicked by Duke. Like that, yeah. I just think about all the people who wish they could have played Duke. I mean, just being able to say that is awesome. And yeah. I mean, you know, you're being able to play your brother obviously makes it a billion times better. I remember I saw Duke at the PK80 where actually I started talking to B minor, and that was when they had Marvin Bagley and Trey Jones. That's a team. Yeah. I'll tell you what, that is a team right there. They were hooping.
Yeah.
They just keep doing it.
You just they do it the right way, and it's just a historic team, and yeah, it's just a special experience to play against the Duke.
Another awesome thing, EJ, that I love that you do, you guys give back, and I think that's something Pont and I are both big on, that kind of community service and outreach and helping others. And I know you guys run a huge tournament, the Singler Invitational.
Singler Open.
Yep. Singler Open. Yep. Singler Open. My bad. Should have done better research.
Kind of sounds like a tennis tournament.
That's the very first thing that came to my mind.
The Singler Open.
I don't know why we named it. So the story goes, so at South Medford for your senior year, you have to do a senior project. So it started as my brother's senior project. He got together, I think it was like 8 teams maybe, mostly all local teams, and put on a tournament at Kids Unlimited. And if people don't know what Kids Unlimited, it's basically like a boys and girls club, or that's how it started, sort of. So that happened his senior year. And then when I became a senior, I kind of added on to it and made it kind of like an unusual tournament. So I added on a skills competition within the tournament. So we did like a 3-point contest, a skills competition, like in an all-star game, kind of what they do. So our whole thing was we wanted it different than any other tournament that kids went to. You know, kids go and you play your 2-3 games or 4 games on a weekend and you leave. And there's no like, I don't know, there's no like family feel to it. So we wanted to bring like a family feel to a tournament. And we have it on Mother's Day weekend every year. And we usually have like a big cookout, and my brother and I usually, you know, talk and give gifts and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I think this year would have been the 15th annual year. And yeah, we get over like 200 teams now. And, you know, obviously all those teams bring in a lot of money for the community, and all the money we make during the tournament, we give back to Kids Unlimited. And now the coolest thing about it is what we've seen happen to Kids Unlimited. And I mean, it started out being basically like an after schools program, and now it's one of the you know, top rated schools. Like, it's a charter school now. It's one of the top rated schools in Oregon. There's kids from, I think, like first grade all the way up to middle school that go there. You know, we feed kids every day. Because with this tournament, our family also runs an auction with Chad Cota, who's also another Southern Oregon legend. And, you know, with those monies that we've fundraised and with the tournament and with other people's generosity and stuff, we've kind of created this, you know, great school and after schools program. And we've brought sports there. It's not only basketball, there's soccer and there's art clubs and all that kind of stuff. So with our family, we're pretty proud about that, giving, you know, a lot of opportunity for specifically, you know, underprivileged kids. And so, yeah, that's been amazing. And it all started from an idea from, you know, my brother in high school.
Incredible. That's incredible. I love the auction. I went the year that that they won the national championship.
Okay.
And they signed a jersey, and I'll never forget, they were bidding. They had these 2 kind of rich guys from Medford kind of bidding back and forth over this signed framed jersey by the Duke starting 5: Nolan Smith, John Shire, Kyle, probably Lance Thomas, and maybe Zubek.
Yep.
And these 2 guys were going back and forth. 10 grand, 11 grand, 13.
Yeah.
I'll give you 15 grand for that jersey. So the guy who's what do they call the auctioneer was like, "Hey, Kyle, you think you can get us another one of those?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, obviously, like, I mean, for sure, no problem. I'll get another jersey signed." So they did. I think they got $30,000 for 2 jerseys.
Sheesh.
I just remember thinking, wow, like that. And the auctioneer was great. Whoever you guys had do the auctioneer, because he's, you know, playing the guys' egos against each other. And, oh, you're gonna let that guy beat you? That guy's gonna have more. He's gonna pay more for that jersey. And then they got the 15, and it kind of started to freeze. And he's like, "What if we could each get you one?" Really cool. Chad Cota. Obviously, the Cota name's a big name in Southern Oregon also, but I just have a lot of respect, always have, for the way you guys have given back. And I think that's a testament, I'm sure, to your mom and dad, but your whole family. You mentioned it, your uncle's the legendary football coach. Broster House over in Klamath obviously is like a big name for athletics. You mentioned your mom's 4 brothers all being D1 athletes, your uncle going to Stanford and playing football, and then your older brother, and your sister is a dancer at Oregon State. Was that right?
Yeah, she was a dancer at Oregon State, and she probably could have went, professionally if she really wanted to, like dancing. She was incredible, but she works at Jordan now up on the Nike campus. So yeah, she's doing well for herself up there.
She's got style. She does have style.
She's got style.
I'll tell you what, that is an athletic family if I've ever heard one. Everybody, literally everybody.
Yeah. It's kind of weird just because you're surrounded by people with experience. I mean, that I guess we were super lucky to be able to pull from different people just around us and ask questions and get their insight, and just unknowingly just had that at our fingertips at all times. So we were really lucky for that.
There's a lot of good people. I know you said there wasn't a lot of people that you saw, but I got to mention my freshman year roommate was from your high school, Ryan Heil.
Oh yeah.
Ryan Heil, and I ran into Eric Feige the other day.
Okay.
So there was a few other South Medford guys that did all right, but Ryan Heil, great athlete. He didn't have Coach K flying in to Medford to visit him. I was in college. I think your brother was in 8th grade my senior year. And so I remember going to University of Portland and hearing, Coach K's flying into Portland, not visiting the other pro that lived in Oregon, Kevin Love, but flying down to Medford to visit the Singlers. And so I just remember thinking, wow, and then when he chose Duke, I was like, let's go. I'm a Duke fan. I have a Kyle Singler autograph from when he was when he was playing at Duke. I was working the summer camps, and I said, hey, I run camps back in Oregon. Can you sign a few things? So he signed his name and in silver, and I gave most of them out, but I kept one. I kept one Kyle Singler autograph, but I need one from EJ. You were most recently playing in New Zealand professionally. I know you played in the G League. Were you the 3-point champion of the D League?
Yeah, I think that would have been my first year in the D League. Yeah, I won the 3-point contest. That was pretty cool.
That's got to be a great feeling. Oh my god, what was your score?
To be honest, I have no idea. I think it was like 19 maybe out of 30. 19.
That's good buckets right there.
Yeah.
Oh, he could shoot it. First team all Pac-12. And you're what, 6'7", 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah. The funny thing is, I wasn't a 3-point shooter. Like, that was a thing that I had to work on. Like, in high school, I played the 5 in high school because I was the tallest guy on the court. So my high school year or my high school career, I probably shot 23s.
Wow.
In my 4 years in high school, probably max.
But you probably shot a lot of elbow jump shots coming off flex, right?
Yeah, that was my shot.
Flex.
That was my shot.
You guys ran flex a lot at South Medford. No discredit. Dennis Murphy's a legend and a great coach, but you guys did run a lot of flex.
That's all we ran, I think.
I think so, and it worked though. I mean, shoot, I've never won a state title as a coach, so I'm sure as heck not talking trash about a guy that was in 2 in a row, and he's been in, I think, 3. I know they lost to Peyton Pritchard's West Lynn team probably in 15 or 16 maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
But you guys getting that championship, that was pretty awesome. I remember, and I'm the type, I know you said Southern Oregon guys stick together, so when you guys won state, I was kind of like, Southern Oregon, let's all be together, right? SOC. I'm gonna ride this one too. I'm not afraid. Southern Oregon, it's all kind of the same, even though South Medford was our rival when I was in high school. But how about that Grants Pass High School gym?
I like the Grants Pass High School gym.
Nice.
It is nice. It's
Hey,
the
speaking
only
of-
game that has seating behind the hoop.
That is sweet like that. Yeah, 3-sided seats are like the court sunk down in like 6 feet,
Yeah.
and so it's a sweet little arena.
It has
Speaking of Peyton Pritchard too, how about Peyton Pritchard right now for Boston?
he's killing.
He
Ballin'.
is killing.
Killing.
He got when we played him at the PK80, he got buckets against us too. I'll never forget. We went to OT and we were supposed to win the game, and then Peyton Pritchard hits a step back between the legs, lost our point guard 3, go to OT, then they win. I was like, dang. But now he's getting buckets.
I'm not surprised. That guy, he's the hardest worker I've ever seen. Ever. And that says a lot. Like
That says a lot. You've seen a lot of dudes, EJ.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of dudes, and that dude grinds, and he's been grinding since middle school, like every day. It's an everyday thing for him, and like basketball just is on his mind 24/7. Sleeps, drinks, all like it's only basketball. Like he only dreams in hoops. But
I think he was homeschooled through middle school and did most of his classes at the gym when he was on break from working out. And he 4-time state champion, starting point guard at Westland High School, 3-time state player of the year, chose University of Oregon. And
he chose Oklahoma.
That's right. He did, because his dad played football at Oklahoma, correct?
Something like that, yeah.
I think so.
There's some connection in Oklahoma. I don't know what it was, but yeah, I think he signed there and then decommitted.
Wanted to be a Duck. There's a lot of people that want to be a
decommitted
Duck.
because his girlfriend went to Oregon. His girlfriend had committed to Oregon, then he went there, and then his girlfriend broke up with him.
Oh wow!
Fun fact:
tough.
Will
That's
never
a tough
chase
one right
a
there.
girlfriend. That's it worked out for Peyton, but I'll tell you what. I'm a college recruiter. I can recruit against Linfield. I can recruit against George Fox, but when they say they have a serious girlfriend,
yeah, you got
tough.
You got to start recruiting the girlfriend.
That's the truth. You got to get both of them to come. That's why I like it if they're an athlete and I can call my buddy that's on the women's staff and be like, hey, you got to recruit this girl. We've done that. We've definitely worked that angle before in a couple of recruits. Okay, well, before we wrap up.
I don't care if the girl doesn't play basketball. We really want this guy.
We really,
So
who
recruit her
cares?
anyways.
We're D3. We can't give a scholarship anyway. Let's get her. Put her on
Tell
the
her to come.
roster.
That's right.
Before we wrap up, we always have a quote. Pont and we have a quote of the show. So we'll have the X Factor. You want to give us what you're bringing with you to the table, and I'll go, and then we can build up the crescendo to you, EJ. So Here we go. Pont, what do you got for us tonight?
I will start us off on this fine Sunday night. So this is what I got tonight. You are never too young or too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. I love that because I'm always thinking of new stuff to do. I mean, I'm young. So I'm only 21 years old, about to be 22 in March. And I just have this like ambitious mindset. Like I'll have like one goal I'll be working towards, and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, this would be cool too. This would be cool. This would be cool. So I'm always going all over the place. And I think about it, that's not a bad thing at all. You know, I don't care if you're 80 or if you're 10. I don't really care. Like create goals and create productive hobbies and go after them with your whole entire heart, because it's going to pay off in the long run. So no matter what stage in life you are, go after your goals. It's going to pay off.
For sure. I like that one.
I like that. You're never too old. You can be 37 years old and start your own podcast with a 21-year-old co-host. So
there you go.
Yes, you could. As a matter of fact, you did.
And I did. You can, and I did. So here we go. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spent years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous, but be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow, but do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you've got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. Mother Teresa.
Wow.
Deep, right? Isn't that's, but think about that. When you think about it, people, you're nice to them, they're going to think you have ulterior motives, but be nice anyway. You're going to succeed. People are going to be jealous and people are going to dislike you. Succeed anyway. I just think that if you're doing the right thing, even if people are tearing you down, you have to keep going. And so I just thought that was one that if you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous, but be happy anyway. And so I just thought that was a good one tonight. I found that one. I was looking through some of my old stuff today, found that quote, wanted to share that with you guys tonight. So there it is. Mother Teresa, a saint. All right, EJ, here we go. What do you got? Give us something.
All right. So this is a quote that I've kind of always, you know, have had handy. You know, I think I have it on my Instagram, kind of the section with the description. And it's been something I've always kind of looked at. And it goes, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. And it can have a couple different meanings to it. But the one I go with all the time is, you know, you're never going to get better being in your comfort zone. You know, when you hit those rough waters is when you get better. So you're going to have ups and downs through life and whatever career path you go down. And for basketball, let's say for basketball as an example, you know, you're going to have injuries, you're going to have a bad game. You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows. And it's how you get through those highs and lows, especially the lows, and how you bounce back is kind of the outcome that you'll be. So if you just have this smooth level of you're not hitting highs and lows, you're not going to get really any better. Like competing, like what I was saying about, you know, growing up in Medford and, you know, if you just think that you're competing against the same player, you won't know. That's not going to make you any better. You know, you got to go out. You got to find someone that's better than you, and then you'll realize, you know, oh, like going against someone that's better than you, that's going to make you better, like on a daily basis. So I've always loved that quote. I've always found that you can learn something from that quote, and that's my 2 cents for tonight.
EJ, I absolutely love that quote and what it stands for. But you know what I like the most about that quote?
What?
You know what one of my first quotes ever on this show was? A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. So great minds think alike, my friend. Great minds think alike.
It's the best. That's one of my favorite quotes of all time.
Adversity. If you don't have a little adversity, if you don't have a little storm, if you don't have a little bit of things coming at you, you won't grow and you won't get to reach your full potential. So yeah, you don't pray for smooth sailing. Pray to be able to overcome the storms, and don't just pray for smooth sailing the whole way, but just have strength to overcome the obstacles. And I love that quote. That's a good one, EJ. You brought it, man. I had no doubt. As a Southern Oregon guy, I knew you were going to bring some heat. And I appreciate you being here, man, taking some time out away from your wife and newborn, hopefully sleeping nights and not keeping you too tired. But really appreciate you joining, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, EJ Singler. We always end our show this way. We say, Pont, if you're going to walk on. Let's go. If you're going to walk on. Here we go. Print it.